The day was cold and gray, the sky heavy with clouds that threatened rain. In the small town of Willow Creek, news of Emily Carter's passing had spread like wildfire. At just 10 years old, Emily had been a bright light in the community, always smiling, always kind, always eager to help others. So when the news came that she had suddenly died, the whole town felt as if a piece of their heart had been torn away. The church was packed with mourners, family, friends, neighbors, even strangers who had heard of Emily's gentle spirit. Flowers in soft pastels lined the aisle, and soft hymns played as people found their seats, many wiping away tears before the service began. The air felt heavy, thick with grief and disbelief. But among the crowd, one presence caught everyone's attention more than the rest. Sitting quietly beside the small white coffin was Max, Emily's golden retriever. His fur was slightly damp from the morning's drizzle, but his eyes were bright and fixed. No one had expected him to attend, but Max had not left Emily's side since the moment he sensed she was gone. As the pastor spoke about Emily's life, her love for painting, her dreams of becoming a veterinarian, her fierce loyalty to friends and family, Max sat motionless. His head rested gently on the coffin, as if trying to hold her spirit close. When family members gently tried to move him, he refused. His gaze never wavered, his loyalty unwavering. Whispers began to ripple through the congregation. "Look at that dog," one woman murmured. "He won't leave her side." Others nodded, some with tears in their eyes. The bond between Emily and Max was well known, but seeing it now, so raw and real, made the loss feel even deeper. The pastor paused his sermon for a moment, glancing at Max with a soft smile. "Animals have a way of feeling what we cannot say," he said gently. "They love without words, they grieve without complaint." Max's loyalty is a reminder to us all of the depth of love Emily gave, and still gives, to those around her. Outside the church windows, the wind picked up, rustling the leaves and bringing a chill to the air. Max didn't move. The mourners stayed silent, many reaching out to comfort one another, but all eyes kept drifting back to the dog by the coffin. Some even wondered if Max somehow understood more than they did, as if he knew a secret beyond words. After the service, as people filed past to pay their respects, Max followed. He stayed close to the coffin, refusing to leave until it was lowered into the ground beneath the weeping willow tree in the cemetery. The willow's branches swayed gently, casting long shadows on the grass. No one could explain Max's behavior. The Carters, Emily's parents, were heartbroken, but also grateful. They knew Max had been Emily's best friend, her protector in many ways, but this silent vigil was something else entirely. As the crowd dispersed and the rain finally began to fall, Max sat beside the freshly covered grave, his head bowed but eyes alert. The town was quiet now, but Max's presence lingered, a living symbol of a bond that death could not break. That day, the whole town felt the weight of grief, but also the quiet strength of love, loyalty, and the mysterious way they can live on. And no one could forget the sight of Max, the dog who refused to leave Emily's side, guarding her in life and even beyond. In the days that followed Emily's funeral, Max's unusual behavior only deepened the mystery that had settled over the Carter family and the entire town of Willow Creek. The golden retriever, once lively and playful, became quiet and withdrawn. He no longer greeted visitors at the door or wagged his tail when Emily's parents came home. Instead, Max spent hours lying near the girl's room or resting beside the spot in the living room where Emily used to read stories aloud. The Carters tried everything to comfort Max. They gave him his favorite treats, took him on long walks, and even tried to play with him in the park, but nothing seemed to break through the veil of sadness that surrounded him. Max's eyes, once bright and full of life, now held a distant, haunted look, as if he were somewhere far away, guarding a secret only he could understand. Neighbors began to notice too. Mrs. Gardner, who lived down the street, stopped by one afternoon with a casserole. She found Max curled up on the porch steps, his head resting on his paws, watching the house as if waiting for someone who would never return. "It's like he's waiting for Emily," she told Mr. Carter softly. "I've never seen a dog so heartbroken." Max's loyalty became the talk of the town. Some whispered that animals could sense things humans could not, that Max was somehow holding onto Emily's spirit. Others, more skeptical, said it was just grief, a natural response to losing his best friend. But no one could deny that Max's sadness was different. It was deeper, more focused, almost purposeful. Then, a few days after the funeral, something even more unusual happened. Max, who had been reluctant to leave the house, suddenly pulled away from the family during a walk and headed toward the woods behind Emily's home. The Carters called after him, but Max kept going, leading them to a small clearing near an old treehouse hidden in the trees. The treehouse was covered in vines and looked abandoned, but Max stood at the base, barking softly, his tail wagging for the first time in days. The Carters exchanged confused looks. They had no idea the treehouse was there. When they climbed up, they found signs that someone had been using it recently: blankets, food wrappers, and drawings pinned to the walls. Among the drawings were pictures of two girls and a dog that looked exactly like Max. Beneath the pictures were words scrawled in crayon: Emily and Lily, and safe here. The Carters felt a chill. Who was Lily? And why had Emily been bringing her to this hidden place? Questions swirled in their minds, but there were no answers yet. Max seemed to sense the importance of the place. He refused to leave the treehouse, pacing inside as if protecting it. That night, the Carters lay awake, wondering what secrets Emily might have been hiding. Meanwhile, Max's strange behavior attracted the attention of others too. Local children stopped by to pet him, and the mail carrier noticed Max waiting by the treehouse each afternoon. The dog's loyalty was no longer just about mourning. It was a silent message, a clue that something more was going on. As the town watched Max's vigil, the mystery of Emily's last days began to unfold quietly. What had Emily been trying to protect? Who was Lily? And why was Max so determined to guard the memory of a secret no one had yet uncovered? The answers, it seemed, were waiting just beyond the trees, in a story about friendship, courage, and a bond so strong it refused to be broken, even by death. Just as the town of Willow Creek was slowly settling into the quiet grief of losing Emily, a new and surprising presence arrived that stirred the curiosity of everyone who saw them. A group of bikers, their motorcycles roaring down Main Street, pulled up outside the Carter home. But these were no ordinary bikers. Their jackets bore patches that read Guardians of Grace, a well-known charity organization that supported children in need across the region. Emily's parents watched, puzzled but hopeful, as the group dismounted. The leader, a tall woman named Kat, stepped forward. She held a small, weathered envelope addressed to the Carter family. Kat explained gently that Emily had written to their charity some weeks before her death, asking for help, not for herself, but for someone she called her hidden friend. Emily's letter was filled with hope and worry. She spoke of a girl named Lily, a classmate who was struggling silently. Emily had noticed Lily's fear and pain, but didn't know how to help. She wrote that Lily was scared of her home life and needed a safe place to go. Emily asked the Guardians of Grace to watch over her and help when they could. The Carters sat in stunned silence, overwhelmed by the news. They had no idea Emily had been carrying such a heavy secret alongside her own illness. Kat and the other bikers explained that the Guardians of Grace specialized in supporting children in crisis, offering shelter, counseling, and protection. Emily had reached out to the only people she trusted. Meanwhile, Max seemed to sense the importance of the moment. He wagged his tail slightly, something he hadn't done in days, as if recognizing the arrival of new allies. The bikers didn't come with loud demands or judgment. Instead, they brought kindness and a promise to help. Kat sat with Mrs. Carter, carefully going over Emily's letter and the bits of information Emily had shared. The letter mentioned the treehouse in the woods, the secret place where Emily and Lily had spent time away from the world. It was clear Emily wanted that place to be safe, a sanctuary for Lily if she ever needed to escape. Word spread quickly through Willow Creek about the Guardian's arrival. The bikers hosted an informal gathering at the local community center, explaining their mission and encouraging people to look out for children in need. The town, still mourning, found a new focus, a way to turn their sorrow into action. At the same time, the bikers began working with local authorities to investigate Lily's situation. They respected privacy and approached with care, understanding that behind every story there were fears and untold pain. The goal wasn't to punish, but to protect, to give Lily and others like her a chance at a safe future. As days passed, Max continued his vigil. He followed the bikers as they searched the woods and nearby areas. It was as if Max knew that this new team held the key to the secret Emily had fought so hard to keep. The dog's loyalty was no longer just about loss. It was about hope. The town, once silent with grief, now buzzed with a quiet determination. Inspired by Emily's courage to speak out for her friend, the community began to open their eyes and ears to those who might be suffering in silence. The Guardians of Grace reminded them that even the smallest voice could make a difference, and sometimes it took a child's bravery and a dog's loyalty to show the way. And so, with the bikers' arrival, a new chapter began, one that promised to uncover the truth, heal old wounds, and protect the most vulnerable. As the bikers settled into the town and worked alongside the Carter family, an unexpected discovery sent a ripple through the community. Kat, the leader of the Guardians of Grace, handed over a small worn journal they had found tucked away in Emily's bedroom. It was a private book, one Emily had kept carefully hidden, filled with sketches, thoughts, and stories. But most importantly, it contained pages that revealed her secret mission, helping Lily. The journal was full of entries written in Emily's neat handwriting, some joyful and others heavy with worry. In one passage, Emily described Lily as a girl who smiles but hides tears. She wrote about how Lily sometimes skipped school and looked frightened when she spoke about home. Emily had wanted to be a friend and a protector, even though she didn't fully understand the dangers Lily faced. As the Carters and the bikers read the journal, they learned that Emily had gone to great lengths to support Lily. She wrote about sneaking food to her, inviting her over to the treehouse, and even talking to teachers on Lily's behalf. Emily's bravery was clear. She had taken on a responsibility far beyond what most children her age would consider. One entry stood out. It was dated just a week before Emily's passing, and it was filled with urgency. Emily wrote about a plan to help Lily escape a situation that was too scary to explain. She described the treehouse as a safe place, where Lily could hide if she needed to run away. Emily had begged the Guardians of Grace to watch over Lily, hoping they could step in when the time came. Emily's words were heartbreaking and inspiring at the same time. They revealed a girl who, despite her own pain and fear, had devoted herself to protecting someone else. Her journal became a testament to courage, kindness, and the powerful bond of friendship. The Carters were overwhelmed by the depth of Emily's compassion. She was so brave, Mrs. Carter whispered, tears streaming down her face. Even when she was hurting, she thought of others. Kat assured them that the Guardians of Grace would do everything in their power to honor Emily's wish and protect Lily. They began coordinating with social workers and local police, preparing to find the girl and ensure her safety. The team worked quietly, respecting the sensitivity of the situation. Meanwhile, Max seemed to understand the importance of the journal. He stayed close to the Carter family, often resting his head on the pages as if guarding the precious secret within. His quiet loyalty gave the family strength in their darkest hours. News of the journal spread through the town, and many were moved by Emily's selflessness. Parents talked about the importance of watching out for their own children and neighbors, inspired by the example of a little girl who had dared to stand up for someone in need. But the question remained, where was Lily? The treehouse had been a refuge, but now it was clear that Lily was still in danger. The Guardians of Grace prepared to begin their search, hoping to find the girl before it was too late. As the sun set over Willow Creek, the town felt a renewed sense of purpose. Emily's story was far from over. It was only the beginning of a journey toward truth, healing, and the promise that no one would face fear alone. After days of searching, the town's hope rested on Max, the dog who had stayed by Emily's side through everything. It was Max who suddenly became the center of attention once again, acting in a way no one expected. One afternoon, during a routine walk, Max stopped abruptly at the edge of the woods behind Emily's house. His ears perked up, and his eyes shone with purpose. Instead of turning back, Max began to pull forward, leading the way into the thick trees. The Carters and Kat, the biker leader, exchanged glances. They had followed Max before, but this time, his urgency was different. The dog seemed to know exactly where he was going. The group moved carefully through the underbrush, following Max as he darted between the trees and stopped near a large twisted oak. There, hidden beneath a curtain of ivy and branches, was the old treehouse Emily had mentioned in her journal. It looked weathered but sturdy, a secret fortress tucked away from the world. Max sat at the base, barking softly, as if announcing their arrival. Climbing up carefully, the group found evidence of recent activity. Blankets were folded neatly in one corner, and a small stack of food wrappers laid beside a worn-out backpack. Most striking of all were the drawings pinned to the walls. Colorful, childlike images of two girls and a dog. One drawing showed Emily and Lily holding hands, surrounded by hearts and stars. Below it, the words "Safe Here" were written in crayon. Kat gently touched the drawings, her eyes softening. "Emily and Lily," she said quietly. This was their safe place. The discovery brought a mixture of relief and sadness. The treehouse was more than a hideout. It was a symbol of friendship and courage. Emily had created a space where Lily could feel protected, away from whatever troubles she faced at home. Max seemed to understand the significance. He paced inside the treehouse, occasionally looking out toward the woods, as if waiting for someone. His loyalty and intuition had guided the team to this crucial clue. Back at the Carter home, the guardians of Grace and the family prepared to take the next step. With the evidence from the treehouse and Emily's journal in hand, they worked with local authorities to widen their search for Lily. Social workers were involved, and a plan was put into motion to find her quickly and safely. Meanwhile, the town watched with bated breath. Emily's story had already touched so many hearts, and now the search for Lily became a shared hope. A chance to bring light to a hidden struggle and give a scared child a new chance at happiness. Days passed, and Max continued his vigil. His presence was a constant comfort to the Carters, a reminder that Emily's spirit lived on through his loyalty and the mission she had started. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a breakthrough came. A local teenager spotted a girl matching Lily's description near the old train tracks on the outskirts of town. She was alone and frightened, clutching a small bag, a quiet echo of the escape Emily had hoped for. The guardians of Grace and police moved quickly. They approached Lily with care and kindness, gently reassuring her that she was safe now. Tears welled in the eyes of those who had been searching, a mix of relief and hope filling the air. As Lily was brought back to the community center, the town gathered quietly outside, their hearts full of gratitude for Emily's bravery, Max's guidance, and the guardian's dedication. The story was far from over, but for the first time since Emily's passing, there was a glimmer of light breaking through the darkness, a promise that love, loyalty, and courage could change lives in the most unexpected ways. When Lily was found, the relief that washed over the town of Willow Creek was palpable. The girl was fragile and wary, her eyes wide with fear, but slowly beginning to trust those around her. The guardians of Grace, alongside social workers and the local police, made sure Lily felt safe and cared for. They spoke softly, offering kindness instead of questions, patience instead of pressure. Emily's secret mission had finally come to light, but with it came the heartbreaking reality of what Lily had endured. Slowly, through quiet conversations and the support of professionals, the truth began to emerge. Lily's home life had been far from the loving shelter she deserved. She had lived in an environment filled with tension, fear, and neglect. The adults in her life were often absent or overwhelmed by their own struggles, leaving Lily alone and vulnerable. There had been moments of cruelty, silence, and sadness that no child should have to face. Emily had seen it all. She had watched Lily's pain with a compassionate heart and a brave spirit. Even as she battled her own illness, Emily had made it her mission to protect her friend. She had become Lily's secret guardian angel, the one who brought light into the darkest corners of her life. Lily's presence at the treehouse was a safe escape, a place where she could breathe, draw, and dream without fear. Emily had given her not only shelter but hope. And when Emily's illness worsened, Lily had been left alone, scared, and uncertain about the future. Now, thanks to Emily's courage and Max's loyalty, Lily was beginning to heal. She was placed in the care of loving foster parents who promised to give her the stability and safety she had long been denied. The community rallied around her, offering support and kindness, inspired by Emily's example. The Carters visited Lily often. They wanted her to know she was not alone, and that Emily's love had paved the way for a better life. Mrs. Carter held Lily's hand one afternoon, tears in her eyes. "Emily was so brave," she said softly. "She loved you like family." Max was there too, his presence a comforting reminder of the bond between the two girls. Lily smiled faintly when she saw him, reaching out to stroke his fur. The dog's gentle nature helped her feel safe, a living symbol of the friendship that had saved her. The town of Willow Creek began to heal as well. Emily's story brought to light the importance of paying attention, listening closely, and reaching out to those who might be suffering silently. The Guardians of Grace continued their work, strengthened by the community's support and the legacy of a little girl who had dared to care. Emily's parents found solace in knowing their daughter had made a difference. Though the pain of losing her never fully disappeared, they took comfort in the knowledge that her courage had changed a life and inspired a town. In the weeks that followed, the treehouse became a place of hope and remembrance. It was cleaned and restored, a tribute to Emily's kindness and the safe haven she had created. Local children visited, leaving flowers and notes, honoring a friendship that had transcended pain. Max remained by the Carter's side, his loyalty unwavering. He had been more than a pet. He had been a guardian, a bridge between worlds, and a silent witness to a story of love and bravery. As spring bloomed in Willow Creek, the community carried forward Emily's message, that even the smallest acts of kindness can shine brightly, and that no one should ever have to face fear alone. In the weeks following Lily's rescue, Willow Creek transformed. The town, once wrapped in a heavy cloak of grief, began to heal, slowly but surely. Emily's story had touched every heart, reminding everyone that even in the darkest times, hope and kindness could bring light. The community center, once quiet and somber, now buzzed with activity. Inspired by the Guardians of Grace and Emily's bravery, the townspeople organized events and support groups aimed at helping children and families in need. Parents and neighbors who might have once turned a blind eye were now the first to step forward, ready to listen and help. Kat and her fellow guardians became fixtures in Willow Creek, offering workshops on recognizing signs of abuse, providing resources for families, and fostering a sense of unity. Their motorcycles were no longer symbols of outsiders, but emblems of hope and protection. Emily's parents, still grieving but filled with purpose, worked alongside the guardians. They shared their daughter's story at schools and community meetings, hoping to inspire others to speak out and act. Emily's courage saved a life. Mr. Carter told a gathering one afternoon. Her love didn't end with her passing. It sparked a movement. Max, the loyal golden retriever, became a symbol of that movement. Children who visited the community center loved to spend time with him. Drawn by his gentle eyes and calm presence, Max seemed to understand his role, offering comfort to those who needed it most. The restored treehouse was transformed into a safe space for local children, a place where they could gather, create art, and share their stories. A plaque dedicated to Emily's memory was placed at its entrance, bearing the words, "In honor of a brave heart who taught us the power of kindness." The town's school curriculum even added lessons on empathy, friendship, and standing up for others, all inspired by Emily's example. Teachers reported a shift in students' attitudes, with more kindness and awareness among peers. Despite the progress, the Carters knew healing was a journey, not a destination. Some days were harder than others, memories still aching like fresh wounds, but they found comfort in the knowledge that Emily's spirit lived on through the lives she touched. Lily, now safe and thriving in her foster home, visited often. She and the Carters shared quiet moments, bonding over their shared love for Emily and the promise of a brighter future. With time, Lily's laughter returned, a sound the town hadn't heard in a long while. The community of Willow Creek learned an invaluable lesson, that no one was truly alone. Together, they had uncovered a painful secret, faced it with courage, and built a support system that would protect their most vulnerable. As spring turned to summer, the town held a memorial event under the willow tree where Emily was buried. Friends, family, and neighbors gathered to celebrate her life and the legacy she left behind. Stories were shared, tears shed, and hopes voiced for the future. Kat raised her glass in a toast. "To Emily," she said, her voice steady but full of emotion. "A girl who showed us all that even the smallest light can shine bright enough to change the world." Max lay quietly beside the tree, his eyes reflecting the warmth and love surrounding him. The dog who had refused to leave the girl's coffin had helped uncover a heartbreaking secret, and in doing so, had helped heal an entire town. The memorial under the willow tree marked more than just a goodbye. It was a beginning. As the community gathered to honor Emily's life, they also celebrated the legacy she had left behind. It was a legacy built on love, courage, and the quiet power of one girl's determination to protect another. In the months that followed, Willow Creek continued to change. Inspired by Emily's story, the town established new programs focused on supporting children facing hardship. The Guardians of Grace expanded their outreach, working hand in hand with local schools, hospitals, and families. Emily's parents found strength in this growing movement. They volunteered tirelessly, speaking openly about their daughter's bravery and the importance of community care. "Emily taught us that love doesn't end when someone is gone," Mrs. Carter often said. "It lives on through the actions we take." Max remained a beloved figure in the town. The golden retriever who had refused to leave Emily's side became a symbol of loyalty and hope. Children who once feared sharing their struggles now found comfort petting Max and telling their stories in the safe space of the treehouse. Lily blossomed in her new life, surrounded by love and stability. She excelled in school and became a passionate advocate for children's rights, driven by the memory of Emily's kindness. On many occasions, she spoke publicly about the importance of friendship, courage, and speaking up for those who can't. The treehouse itself became a living memorial, a place where children could come to create, dream, and find peace. It was decorated with artwork, letters, and photographs, a testament to the friendships and hope it had fostered. The plaque at its entrance served as a reminder that one small act of kindness can ripple out and change countless lives. Emily's story reached beyond Willow Creek, touching hearts across the region. News outlets covered the town's transformation, and the Guardians of Grace received invitations to share their work at conferences and community events. The message was clear: when people come together, they can protect and uplift the most vulnerable. Throughout it all, the Carters found moments of peace. Though they still missed Emily deeply, they knew her spirit was woven into the fabric of their community. Her courage had sparked a movement that would endure for generations. One quiet evening, as the sun set over the hills, Mrs. Carter sat beside Max at the treehouse. She looked around at the place Emily had loved and whispered, "Thank you, sweetheart. Because of you, This town knows how to care. Max rested his head on her knee, his eyes soft and knowing. In that moment, it was clear, the bond between a girl and her dog, the bravery of a child reaching out to a friend, and the kindness of a community united could never be broken. Emily's story was no longer just a tale of loss. It was a shining example of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of love. And in the heart of Willow Creek, that love would never fade. If you'd like, I can help you format the whole story or work on any other detail.